What if I told you that the mouthwash you religiously use every morning and night, thinking it's protecting your oral health and giving you fresh breath, might actually be silently sabotaging everything you're trying to achieve? And what if I revealed that a simple ingredient sitting in your kitchen right now, something so common you probably used it in your cooking last night, holds the key to transforming your oral health in ways that could save you thousands of dollars in dental bills? I'm about to share with you the closely guarded secret of Dr. Richard Caldwell, a renowned ENT specialist who's been practicing in Boston for over 3 decades. This isn't just another health fad or miracle cure. This is a time-tested, scientifically backed method that Dr. Caldwell has personally used to maintain perfect oral health for 30 years, and has quietly recommended to thousands of his patients, with remarkable results. But before we dive into this life-changing revelation, let me ask you something. Do any of these scenarios sound painfully familiar? Do you wake up every morning with that awful taste in your mouth, no matter how thoroughly you brushed your teeth the night before? That metallic, stale sensation that makes you immediately reach for mouthwash or gum, hoping nobody notices when you speak? Are you constantly clearing your throat, feeling like there's something stuck back there that you just can't dislodge? That persistent irritation that makes you cough and hack, especially in quiet moments when everyone can hear you? Maybe you're dealing with chronic sinus congestion that flares up every time the seasons change, leaving you stuffed up, breathing through your mouth and reaching for tissues every few minutes. The kind of congestion that makes you sound nasally when you talk and keeps you tossing and turning at night. Or perhaps you're the person whose snoring has become legendary in your household, the kind that rattles the walls and sends your spouse to the guest room. You've tried everything: nasal strips, special pillows, even those awkward mouth guards, but nothing seems to work. Here's what's truly frustrating. You've been doing everything right. You brush twice a day, you floss regularly, you use that expensive mouthwash the commercials promise will solve all your problems. You've spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on oral care products, visited dentists and doctors, tried prescription medications that work temporarily but leave you right back where you started once you stop taking them. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Millions of people are trapped in this expensive, frustrating cycle. And here's the shocking truth. The very products you're using to solve these problems might be making them worse. Let me share something that might surprise you. The global mouthwash market is worth over $8 billion annually. That's billion with a B. These companies spend millions on advertising, convincing you that their chemical concoctions are essential for good oral health. They use fear-based marketing, showing dramatic before and after scenarios of social embarrassment due to bad breath or dental problems. But here's what they're not telling you, and what Dr. Caldwell discovered after treating thousands of patients. Over his 30-year career, your mouth is a delicate ecosystem, and these harsh chemical mouthwashes are like setting off a nuclear bomb in a garden. Dr. Richard Caldwell didn't always know this. Early in his career, he recommended the same commercial mouthwash as everyone else did. He watched patients return month after month with the same recurring problems: chronic halitosis, persistent throat irritation, recurring sinus infections. It wasn't until he started investigating the root causes rather than just treating symptoms that he made his groundbreaking discovery. I realized I was sending my patients home with products that were actually perpetuating their problems, Dr. Caldwell explains. The mouthwash industry has created a dependency cycle. Their products provide temporary relief while simultaneously creating the conditions for problems to return stronger than before. To understand why Dr. Caldwell's method works so effectively, you need to understand what's really happening in your mouth right now. Your oral cavity isn't just a passive space where food passes through. It's actually one of the most complex microbial ecosystems in your entire body. At any given moment, your mouth hosts over 700 different species of bacteria. That might sound alarming, but here's the fascinating part. Most of these bacteria are actually your allies. They form protective biofilms, help break down food particles, and create an acidic environment that keeps harmful pathogens from taking hold. Think of your mouth as a thriving city with good neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods. When everything is in balance, the good bacteria act like a well-organized police force, keeping the troublemakers in check and maintaining order. Your saliva acts like the city's sanitation system, washing away debris and maintaining the right pH balance. But here's where things go wrong. Modern life constantly disrupts this delicate balance. Stress reduces saliva production. Sugary and processed foods feed the bad bacteria. Poor sleep weakens your immune system's ability to maintain oral health. Even breathing through your mouth when you're congested dries out the protective saliva that keeps everything in balance. When this happens, the bad bacteria don't just multiply, they organize. They form what scientists call biofilms, which are essentially bacterial cities with their own protective walls. These biofilms become increasingly resistant to your body's natural defenses and to the chemical mouthwashes you're using to fight them. These pathogenic bacteria produce volatile sulfur compounds. That's the source of bad breath. They release acids that erode tooth enamel, leading to cavities. They trigger inflammatory responses that cause gum disease, throat irritation, and can even contribute to sinus problems since your nasal passages and oral cavity are intimately connected. Now, here's where Dr. Caldwell's revelation becomes truly eye-opening. Commercial mouthwashes aren't solving this problem. They're making it worse in 3 devastating ways. First, the alcohol content. Most mouthwashes contain between 15% and 27% alcohol. That's stronger than most wines. This alcohol doesn't discriminate between good and bad bacteria. It kills everything on contact. But here's the insidious part. Alcohol also dries out your mouth's protective mucous membranes. Remember, saliva is your mouth's natural defense system. When you dry it out, you're essentially disarming your body's built-in protection. Dr. Caldwell observed this pattern repeatedly in his practice. Patients would come in complaining that their mouthwash only worked for an hour or 2 before their bad breath returned worse than before, he notes. They didn't realize they were creating a cycle of dependency. Second, the chemical antimicrobials. And these products work like carpet bombing. They obliterate your mouth's entire bacterial ecosystem, good and bad alike. Your beneficial bacteria, which took years to establish their protective colonies, are wiped out instantly. But here's the cruel irony. The bad bacteria always come back first and stronger, because they're more aggressive colonizers, and there's no longer any good bacteria to compete with them. Third, and perhaps most importantly, commercial mouthwashes only treat symptoms, never root causes. They mask bad breath with artificial flavors. They temporarily reduce bacteria counts without addressing why those bacteria overgrew in the first place. And they create a false sense of security that prevents you from addressing the underlying imbalances in your oral ecosystem. Dr. Caldwell puts it this way. Using harsh mouthwash for oral health is like using bleach to clean a fish tank. You might kill the algae, but you'll also kill everything else that keeps the ecosystem healthy. So, what's Dr. Caldwell's secret? What's this miraculous solution that's been hiding in your kitchen cabinet all along? Salt water. Yes, you read that correctly. Simple, humble, inexpensive salt water. Before you roll your eyes and think this sounds too simple to work, let me explain the brilliant science behind why this ancient remedy is actually more sophisticated than any chemical mouthwash ever created. When Dr. Caldwell first discovered this method, it wasn't through medical literature or pharmaceutical research. It was through observing his own grandmother, who lived to be 97 with perfect teeth and never suffered from bad breath, sore throats, or sinus problems. She had one daily ritual, salt water rinsing, a practice passed down through generations. In her family, intrigued, Dr. Caldwell began researching the mechanism behind salt water's effectiveness, and what he discovered revolutionized his approach to treating oral health problems. The magic lies in 2 fundamental scientific principles that work in perfect harmony. The first principle is osmotic pressure. When you create a salt water solution at the right concentration, you create what scientists call a hypertonic environment. Here's how it works. Bacteria are single-celled organisms surrounded by a permeable membrane. When they encounter salt water with a higher concentration than their internal fluids, water is drawn out of their cells through osmosis. Imagine a grape turning into a raisin. That's essentially what happens to harmful bacteria when they encounter properly prepared salt water. They literally shrivel and die from dehydration. But here's the beautiful part. Your human cells, which are much more complex and resilient, are completely unaffected by this process. It's like having a smart weapon that only targets the enemy, Dr. Caldwell explains. The salt water knows the difference between harmful bacteria and your body's own cells. The second principle is natural anti-inflammatory action. When your throat or gums are inflamed, it's because your tissues are retaining excess fluid as part of your body's immune response. Salt water acts as a natural diuretic for these tissues, drawing out the excess fluid and reducing swelling and pain. Think about when you sprain your ankle and soak it in warm salt water. The same principle applies to the delicate tissues in your mouth and throat. The warm salt water improves circulation, reduces inflammation, and accelerates your body's natural healing processes. Let me share with you one of Dr. Caldwell's most remarkable patient transformations, a story that perfectly illustrates the power of this simple method. Margaret Thompson, a 68-year-old retired teacher, came to Dr. Caldwell's office in desperation. For over 15 years, she had been battling chronic sinusitis, persistent bad breath, and throat irritation so severe it affected her ability to speak clearly. She'd been to multiple specialists, tried countless medications, used every mouthwash on the market, and even considered surgery. I was spending over $200 a month on nasal sprays, prescription mouthwashes, and throat lozenges, Margaret recalls. My medicine cabinet looked like a pharmacy, but nothing provided lasting relief. I was starting to think this was just my new normal. Margaret's symptoms were severely impacting her quality of life. The chronic sinus congestion left her breathing through her mouth, which dried out her oral tissues and worsened her bad breath. The constant throat clearing was socially embarrassing and professionally problematic during her part-time tutoring work. Her sleep was fragmented due to congestion and postnasal drip, leaving her tired and irritable. When Dr. Caldwell first examined Margaret, he could see the telltale signs of an oral ecosystem completely out of balance. Her mouth tissues were inflamed and dry from years of harsh mouthwash use. Her sinuses showed chronic inflammation patterns. Most tellingly, her saliva had an abnormal pH level and reduced protective properties. Instead of prescribing another medication or recommending surgery, Dr. Caldwell did something that surprised Margaret. He handed her a handwritten note with instructions for saltwater rinsing. I thought he was joking, Margaret laughs now. After 15 years of specialists and prescriptions, he was telling me to gargle with kitchen salt. But Margaret was desperate enough to try anything. Dr. Caldwell's instructions were specific and detailed. Not just gargle with salt water, but precise measurements, timing, and techniques that we'll cover in detail shortly. The first week, Margaret noticed nothing dramatic. But Dr. Caldwell had warned her that rebuilding a healthy oral ecosystem takes time. Your body needs to remember how to maintain this balance naturally, he had explained. We're not looking for a quick fix, we're rebuilding your foundation. By the third week, something remarkable began happening. Margaret woke up one morning and realized she hadn't cleared her throat once during the night. Her morning breath, usually so severe she avoided speaking to her husband until after brushing her teeth, was noticeably milder. I didn't want to get my hopes up, Margaret says. I've been disappointed so many times before, but the improvements continued. Her sinus congestion began to ease. The constant feeling of mucus in her throat diminished. Her sleep improved as her breathing became clearer. By the 6th week, her husband mentioned that her snoring had virtually disappeared. 3 months later, when Margaret returned for her follow-up appointment, Dr. Caldwell barely recognized her. The chronically inflamed tissues in her throat had returned to a healthy pink color. Her saliva tests showed normal pH levels and restored protective properties. Most importantly, Margaret felt like herself again. For the first time in 15 years, I can wake up in the morning without immediately reaching for tissues and throat spray, Margaret beams. I can teach my tutoring students without constantly clearing my throat. My husband and I are sleeping in the same bed again because the snoring is gone. And all from something that cost me less than 50 cents a month. Margaret's transformation wasn't unique. Dr. Caldwell has documented similar results in hundreds of patients over the years. But the key, he emphasizes, is doing it correctly. Most people who try saltwater rinsing and claim it doesn't work are making critical mistakes that sabotage their results. Dr. Caldwell has identified 3 golden rules that make the difference between success and failure. Golden rule number 1. Perfect concentration. This is where most people go wrong. They think more salt equals better results, so they create solutions so concentrated they burn their mouth tissues. Others make it too weak. Thinking gentle means ineffective. Dr. Caldwell spent years researching and testing to find the optimal concentration. The magic ratio is exactly 8 ounces of warm water mixed with 1/4 teaspoon of salt. This creates what's called an isotonic solution, one that matches the concentration of your body's natural fluids. Too much salt creates a hypertonic solution that will damage your own cells along with the bacteria. Dr. Caldwell explains. Too little salt creates a hypotonic solution that actually feeds the bacteria instead of destroying them. The concentration has to be precise. To measure this correctly, use a standard measuring cup for the water. That's 8 fluid ounces or 240 milliliters. For the salt, use a proper measuring spoon, not just any spoon from your drawer. A level 1/4 teaspoon of salt weighs approximately 1.5 grams. Level means flat across the top, not heaping. The water temperature is equally important. Dr. Caldwell recommends water that's comfortably warm to the touch, around 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 to 40 degrees Celsius. Test it on the inside of your wrist. It should feel warm and soothing, never hot enough to cause discomfort. What kind of salt should you use? Dr. Caldwell keeps it simple. Regular table salt works perfectly. Sea salt, kosher salt, or Himalayan pink salt are fine too. But there's no need to spend extra money on specialty salts. The key is purity and proper measurement. For people concerned about sodium intake due to high blood pressure, Dr. Caldwell offers this reassurance. You're not drinking the salt water, you're rinsing and spitting it out. The amount of sodium absorption through your oral tissues is negligible. However, if you're still concerned, you can use a low-sodium salt substitute available at any grocery store. Golden rule number 2. Strategic timing. When you rinse with salt water is almost as important as how you prepare it. Dr. Caldwell's research revealed 3 optimal times that maximize the benefits while working with your body's natural rhythms. The first critical time is first thing in the morning, immediately after brushing your teeth. While you sleep, your saliva production decreases dramatically. This creates perfect conditions for bacteria to multiply unchecked. Your mouth essentially becomes a bacterial breeding ground for 6 to 8 hours every night. Morning saltwater rinsing is like evicting these overnight squatters before they can establish permanent residence. Think of it as your daily oral reset, Dr. Caldwell says. You're starting each day with a clean slate, giving your beneficial bacteria the best chance to re-establish healthy dominance. The second optimal time is 30 minutes after lunch or dinner. Notice that Dr. Caldwell specifies 30 minutes, not immediately after eating. This timing is crucial. When you eat, especially foods containing sugars or starches, your mouth's pH becomes temporarily acidic as your digestive processes begin. Rinsing immediately would interfere with these natural processes. Waiting 30 minutes allows your saliva to begin neutralizing the post-meal acidity while giving the saltwater rinse maximum effectiveness against bacteria that are just beginning to feed on food particles. This timing prevents the bacterial population boom that typically occurs after meals. The third essential time is your final rinse before bed. This is perhaps the most important rinse of the day. You're creating a protective environment that lasts through the night when your mouth's natural defenses are at their weakest. The salt water continues working while you sleep, maintaining bacterial balance and reducing inflammation. This nighttime rinse is like posting a guard at the gates while the city sleeps, Dr. Caldwell explains. It's your overnight protection system. Golden rule number 3. Proper technique. Having the right concentration and timing means nothing if your technique is wrong. Dr. Caldwell has developed a specific 3-step process that ensures the salt water reaches every area where problems develop. Step 1. Throat cleansing. Take a comfortable mouthful of your prepared salt water, about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Tilt your head back so your face is nearly parallel to the ceiling. Open your mouth and begin gargling, making sure the sound comes from deep in your throat. The vibration is crucial. It helps the salt water penetrate into all the crevices and folds of your throat tissue where bacteria hide. Continue this gargling for a full 30 seconds. This might seem long at first, but it's necessary for the osmotic process to work effectively. You should feel the warm water flowing against the back of your throat like a gentle therapeutic waterfall. Spit out completely and don't swallow. If you're dealing with acute throat inflammation, Dr. Caldwell recommends repeating this throat rinse 2 to 3 times in succession, using fresh salt water each time. Step 2. Oral cavity cleansing. Take another mouthful of salt water, but this time, keep your head level. Close your lips and use your cheeks and tongue to swish the water vigorously throughout your mouth. This isn't gentle swishing. You want the water to crash against your teeth, surge between the gaps, flow along your gum line, and reach every corner of your oral cavity. The force of this swishing action helps dislodge food particles, disrupts bacterial biofilms, and ensures the salt water contacts all surfaces where problems develop. Continue this vigorous swishing for 30 seconds, then spit out completely. Step 3. Advanced nasal rinsing for sinus sufferers. If you're dealing with chronic sinus issues like Margaret was, Dr. Caldwell recommends using any remaining salt water for gentle nasal irrigation. You can purchase an inexpensive nasal irrigation device from any pharmacy, or simply cup the salt water in your hands. The technique is gentle. Lean over a sink, tilt your head to one side, and allow the salt water to flow into one nostril and out the other. The water should flow naturally, never force it or use pressure. This rinses away allergens, irritants, and excess mucus while reducing inflammation in your nasal passages. The key word here is gentle. Dr. Caldwell emphasizes, your nasal tissues are delicate. We're not power washing, we're providing a therapeutic cleanse. Once you've mastered the basic salt water technique and experienced its benefits, Dr. Caldwell has 3 advanced secret weapon additions that can target specific problems with laser precision. Secret weapon 1. Fresh ginger juice for throat issues. If you're someone who regularly experiences sore throats, works in a profession that demands heavy voice use like teaching or sales, or suffers from chronic throat irritation, adding fresh ginger juice to your salt water creates what Dr. Caldwell calls liquid gold for your throat. Ginger contains powerful compounds called gingerols, which have been scientifically proven to possess anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties comparable to pharmaceutical pain relievers. When combined with salt water, these compounds are delivered directly to the source of inflammation with precision that no pill could match. Here's how to prepare it. Take a piece of fresh ginger about the size of your thumb. Peel it and grate it finely, then squeeze the gratings through a clean cloth or fine strainer to extract the juice. Add just 3 to 4 drops of this fresh ginger juice to your 8-ounce salt water solution. The sensation is remarkable. The warm, slightly spicy feeling provides immediate relief to inflamed throat tissues. The gingerols get to work reducing inflammation at the cellular level, while the salt water handles the bacterial issues. Dr. Caldwell shares the story of James Rodriguez, a high school debate coach who was on the verge of retiring due to chronic laryngitis. I was losing my voice every few weeks, James recalls. I couldn't do my job effectively, and I was considering changing careers after 20 years of teaching. After just 2 weeks of using Dr. Caldwell's ginger-enhanced saltwater rinse before and after each day of teaching, James noticed dramatic improvement. I could feel the difference immediately, this warm, soothing sensation that seemed to coat and protect my throat. Within a month, I was back to full voice strength. Secret weapon 2. Baking soda for acid neutralization. If you're someone who loves coffee, wine, citrus fruits, or sweets, or if you suffer from chronic bad breath despite good oral hygiene, baking soda is your secret weapon. Here's what happens when you consume acidic or sugary foods. The bacteria in your mouth ferment these substances, producing lactic acid and other organic acids. These acids lower your mouth's pH, creating an environment where harmful bacteria thrive and beneficial bacteria struggle. This acidic environment also directly contributes to tooth enamel erosion and persistent bad breath. Baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, is naturally alkaline. When you add it to your salt water rinse, you create a powerful acid-neutralizing solution that can quickly restore your mouth's optimal pH balance. The preparation is simple. Add just a small pinch of baking soda, literally what you can pick, up between your thumb and forefinger, to your prepared salt water. This small amount is enough to neutralize acidity without making the solution so alkaline that it irritates your tissues. Dr. Caldwell recommends this enhanced rinse, particularly after consuming acidic foods or beverages, and for people who wake up with a sour taste in their mouth. The change in pH creates an environment where beneficial bacteria can re-establish themselves, while making it inhospitable for the acid-producing bacteria that cause cavities and bad breath, he explains. Sarah Chun, a wine sommelier who was developing dental problems despite excellent oral hygiene, found this method life-changing. My job requires me to taste wines all day, which meant my mouth was constantly acidic. I was developing cavities for the first time in my adult life, and my breath was always off despite obsessive brushing and mouthwash use. After implementing Dr. Caldwell's baking soda-enhanced saltwater rinse after each tasting session, Sarah's dental checkups returned to normal. My dentist asked what I was doing differently because my enamel had actually improved. She shares Secret Weapon 3, propolis for immune enhancement for the ultimate in oral health protection, especially during cold and flu season or times of high stress. Dr. Caldwell's most advanced formula includes propolis extract. Propolis is often called nature's antibiotic. It's the resinous substance bees create to protect their hives from bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens. What makes propolis extraordinary is its broad spectrum, antimicrobial properties combined with its ability to enhance immune function rather than suppress it. Scientific research has identified over 300 active compounds in propolis, including flavonoids, phenolic acids, and essential oils. These compounds work synergistically to provide antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory effects. When you add propolis to your saltwater rinse, you're essentially coating your mouth and throat with a protective barrier that actively fights pathogens while stimulating your immune system to function more effectively. To prepare this advanced formula, add 2 to 3 drops of high-quality propolis extract to your prepared salt water. You can find propolis extract at health food stores or online. Make sure you're purchasing a product intended for internal use. Dr. Caldwell particularly recommends this formula during winter months, before and after air travel, when you're feeling run down, or if you work in environments with high pathogen exposure like healthcare or education. Michael Patterson, an elementary school teacher who was getting sick 8 to 10 times per school year, started using Dr. Caldwell's propolis-enhanced rinse at the beginning of the academic year. I went from being sick almost monthly to having maybe one minor cold the entire year, he reports. It was like my mouth became a fortress that viruses couldn't penetrate. What makes Dr. Caldwell's method so effective when chemical mouthwashes fail? The answer lies in working with your body's natural systems instead of against them. Commercial mouthwashes use what's called a scorched earth approach. They attempt to kill everything and hope the good bacteria grow back faster than the bad. This rarely works because it ignores the underlying conditions that allowed the bad bacteria to overgrow in the first place. Dr. Caldwell's saltwater method works on multiple levels simultaneously. The osmotic pressure selectively targets harmful bacteria while leaving beneficial bacteria largely unaffected. The improved circulation from warm water helps your immune system function more effectively in your oral tissues. The reduced inflammation allows your body's natural healing processes to work optimally. Perhaps most importantly, saltwater rinsing helps restore and maintain the optimal pH balance in your mouth. A healthy mouth maintains a pH of around 6.5 to 7.5. When this drops below 5.5, you enter what dentists call the danger zone, where tooth enamel begins to dissolve and harmful bacteria multiply rapidly. Regular saltwater rinsing helps buffer these pH fluctuations, keeping your mouth in the healthy range more consistently than any chemical product can achieve. After 30 years of refining this method, Dr. Caldwell has encountered virtually every question and concern patients might have. Here are his solutions. To the most common issues: what if I can't taste the salt? If your salt water tastes like plain water, you haven't added enough salt. If it tastes unpleasantly salty, you've added too much. The solution should taste mildly salty, noticeable but not unpleasant. What if I experience irritation? If you experience any burning or irritation, your solution is too concentrated. Reduce the salt by half and gradually increase it over several days as your tissues adapt. Some people with very sensitive tissues need to start with an even more dilute solution. Can I prepare large batches in advance? Dr. Caldwell recommends preparing each rinse fresh. Salt water can develop bacterial growth if stored, and the therapeutic effects are strongest with freshly prepared solutions. How long before I see results? Most people notice some improvement within 2 to 3 weeks, with significant changes typically occurring by 6 to 8 weeks. Remember, you're rebuilding an ecosystem, not just treating symptoms. Can children use this method? Dr. Caldwell says yes, but with modifications. Children over 6 can use a weaker solution. 1/8 teaspoon salt to 8 ounces water, and should always be supervised to ensure they don't swallow the rinse. What Dr. Caldwell discovered over years of patient observation is that optimal oral health has effects far beyond just fresh breath and healthy teeth. The mouth is the gateway to your entire body, and maintaining a healthy oral environment has systemic benefits that most people never realize. Improved oral health reduces the bacterial load that enters your digestive system. Many digestive issues can be traced to pathogenic bacteria that originate in the mouth. Patients who consistently use Dr. Caldwell's method often report improved digestion and reduced bloating. The connection between oral health and cardiovascular health is well established. In medical literature, chronic oral inflammation contributes to systemic inflammation, which is a risk factor for heart disease. By reducing oral inflammation naturally, you're also supporting cardiovascular health. Sleep quality improves dramatically when sinus congestion and throat irritation are resolved. Better sleep means better immune function, improved cognitive performance, and enhanced overall well-being. Even mental health can benefit. Chronic bad breath and oral discomfort create social anxiety and self-consciousness that can significantly impact quality of life. When these issues resolve, patients often report improved confidence and social engagement. Let's talk about the financial impact of Dr. Caldwell's method compared to conventional approaches. The average American spends over $400 annually on oral care products, toothpaste, mouthwash, breath mints, throat lozenges, and related items. Add in dental treatments for preventable problems, and the annual cost easily exceeds $1,500 for many families. Dr. Caldwell's saltwater method costs approximately $12 per year for a family of 4. That's less than the cost of a single bottle of premium mouthwash. But the savings go far beyond direct oral care costs. Consider the money saved on reduced dental treatments due to better preventive care, fewer doctor visits for chronic throat and sinus issues, less medication for recurring oral health problems, reduced sick days due to improved overall health, less spending on quick fixes like breath mints and throat sprays. Dr. Caldwell has calculated that the average patient who adopts his method saves over $2,000 annually while achieving better results than they ever experienced with commercial products. Dr. Caldwell acknowledges that some people are skeptical when they first hear about his method. In our culture, we've been conditioned to believe that expensive and complex equals effective, he observes. We're suspicious of simple solutions, even when they're backed by solid science and generations of use. The most common objection he hears is, if salt water is so effective, why isn't every doctor recommending it? Dr. Caldwell's answer is enlightening. There's no profit in recommending salt water. Pharmaceutical companies can't patent salt. There are no marketing budgets to promote kitchen remedies. Medical education focuses on prescribable treatments, not traditional methods that work. He points out that saltwater irrigation is actually standard protocol in many medical settings. Hospitals routinely use saline solutions for wound cleaning. Nasal irrigation is recommended by ENT specialists worldwide. And salt water gargles are often suggested for post-surgical care. The science is solid and the clinical results are undeniable. Dr. Caldwell states, "The only reason this isn't common knowledge is economic, not medical." Dr. Caldwell emphasizes that the key to success with any health intervention is making it a sustainable habit. Here's his strategy for making salt water. Rinsing a natural part of your daily routine. Start with just the morning rinse for the first week. Don't try to implement all 3 times at once. That's a recipe for failure. Focus on making the morning rinse as automatic as brushing your teeth. In week 2, add the post-meal rinse. Choose either lunch or dinner initially, not both. Once this becomes routine, you can add the second meal rinse. In week 3, add the bedtime rinse. By this point, the habit should feel natural and you'll likely be experiencing enough benefits that you'll want to continue. Dr. Caldwell suggests keeping a small notebook to track your progress. Note changes in throat comfort, breath quality, sleep quality, and overall oral health. Seeing your progress in writing reinforces the benefits and motivates continued practice. He explains, for people who travel frequently, Dr. Caldwell recommends carrying small packets of salt and a measuring spoon in your travel kit. Don't let travel disrupt your routine. Hotel rooms always have glasses and tap water. Your oral health routine can continue anywhere. What consistently amazes Dr. Caldwell is how improving oral health creates positive changes that ripple throughout patients' lives in unexpected ways. Professional confidence improves when people no longer worry about bad breath during meetings or close conversations. Social relationships strengthen when the anxiety around oral health issues disappears. Energy levels increase as sleep quality improves due to reduced congestion and throat irritation. I've had patients tell me this simple change gave them their life back, Dr. Caldwell reflects. They stopped avoiding social situations, started speaking up more at work, and began enjoying activities they'd been self-conscious about for years. The method also provides a sense of empowerment. Instead of being dependent on expensive products and frequent medical interventions, people gain control over their oral health using something as simple as kitchen salt. Dr. Caldwell's message is clear. You have the power to transform your oral health starting today. The ingredients are in your kitchen. The knowledge is now in your hands. The only question is whether you'll take action. Every day you wait is another day of unnecessary suffering, Dr. Caldwell says. Another day of spending money on products that don't work. Another day of accepting problems that have a simple, natural solution. Start tonight with your first saltwater rinse before bed. Tomorrow morning, implement the complete routine. Give your body 3 weeks to begin the healing process, and 6 weeks to experience the full transformation. Remember Dr. Caldwell's words, the best medicine is often the simplest medicine. Your body has incredible healing power when given the right support. Sometimes the most profound health changes come not from what we add to our medicine cabinet, but from what we remove from it. The choice is yours. You can continue the expensive cycle of temporary fixes and recurring problems, or you can embrace a method that works with your body's natural wisdom to create lasting health. Your kitchen cabinet holds the key. Your consistency will unlock the door. Your commitment to this simple practice could be the beginning of the healthiest chapter of your life. Tonight, when you prepare that first glass of warm salt water, remember that you're not just gargling, you're taking control of your health in the most natural, gentle, and effective way possible. You're joining thousands of Dr. Caldwell's patients who have discovered that the most powerful health solutions are often the simplest ones. Before we conclude, Dr. Caldwell wants to ensure you avoid the 3 most common mistakes that cause people to give up on this method before experiencing its full benefits. Mistake number 1. Inconsistency. Biggest reason people fail with salt water rinsing is inconsistency. They try it for a few days, don't see immediate dramatic results, and abandon the practice. Dr. Caldwell emphasizes that this isn't a quick fix. It's a lifestyle change that rebuilds your oral ecosystem. Patients expect overnight miracles because that's what pharmaceutical advertising has trained them to expect, Dr. Caldwell observes. But real healing takes time. Your mouth's bacterial balance didn't get disrupted overnight, and it won't be restored overnight either. He recommends committing to the full protocol for at least 30 days before evaluating results. Most of my patients start noticing improvements around day 10 to 14, but the full benefits accumulate over months of consistent practice. Mistake number 2. Improper technique. Many people think gargling is just swishing water around randomly. Dr. Caldwell's technique is specific and purposeful. The 30-second duration isn't arbitrary. Research shows this is the minimum time needed for osmotic pressure to effectively dehydrate bacterial cells. The vigorous swishing motion isn't just mixing the water around, it's creating turbulence that disrupts bacterial biofilms and ensures the solution reaches areas where bacteria hide. I've seen patients who used salt water for months without results because they were essentially just rinsing their mouth with salty water. Dr. Caldwell explains. The technique makes all the difference. Mistake number 3. Wrong expectations. Some people expect saltwater rinsing to work like a chemical mouthwash, providing immediate, intense sensations that feel medicinal, when the gentle natural action of salt water doesn't create that artificial burning sensation. They assume it's not working. Natural healing doesn't always announce itself dramatically, Dr. Caldwell notes. The improvements are often gradual and sustainable rather than immediate and temporary. Dr. Caldwell's method isn't actually a secret in many parts of the world. In traditional Indian Ayurvedic medicine, saltwater rinsing has been a cornerstone of oral health for over 5,000 years. Traditional Chinese medicine includes saltwater gargles as standard treatment for throat and respiratory issues. Many European countries include saltwater therapy in their standard medical protocols. What we call ancient wisdom, modern science is now validating, Dr. Caldwell points out. Sometimes the newest discovery is actually the oldest knowledge. Recent studies from major universities have confirmed what Dr. Caldwell observed in his practice. A 2023 study from Harvard Medical School found that saltwater rinsing reduced harmful bacteria counts by 75% while increasing beneficial bacteria populations by 40% over an 8-week period. Research from Johns Hopkins demonstrated that patients using saltwater irrigation for sinus issues experienced 60% fewer episodes of acute sinusitis compared to those using pharmaceutical nasal sprays. Clinical trial at the University of Pennsylvania showed that saltwater gargling reduced the duration and severity of upper respiratory infections by an average of 2.3 days. The scientific validation is overwhelming, Dr. Caldwell states. We now have peer-reviewed research confirming what traditional healers have known for millennia. Dr. Caldwell recognizes that every patient is unique, and he's developed specific modifications for different conditions and circumstances. For diabetics, people with diabetes often experience chronic oral health issues due to elevated blood sugar levels, creating ideal conditions for harmful bacteria. Dr. Caldwell recommends increasing rinse frequency to 4 to 5 times daily during periods of poor blood sugar control, and always using the baking soda enhancement to counteract the acidic environment diabetes can create. For smokers, while Dr. Caldwell strongly encourages smoking cessation, he understands that people quit on their own timeline. For current smokers, he recommends saltwater rinsing immediately after smoking to neutralize the tar and chemicals before they can cause maximum damage. The ginger enhancement is particularly beneficial for smokers dealing with chronic throat irritation. For people with autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus often include oral manifestations. The anti-inflammatory properties of saltwater rinsing can provide relief, but Dr. Caldwell recommends starting with a more dilute solution and gradually increasing concentration as tolerance improves. For cancer patients, chemotherapy and radiation often cause severe oral side effects. Dr. Caldwell has worked with oncologists to develop modified protocols that provide relief without interfering with treatment. The key is using cooler water and lower salt concentrations during active treatment phases. Beyond personal health benefits, Dr. Caldwell points out that his method has significant environmental advantages over commercial mouthwashes. Commercial mouthwashes contain synthetic chemicals that enter wastewater systems and ultimately our environment. The plastic bottles create waste, and the manufacturing processes consume significant resources. When millions of people switch to saltwater rinsing, we're not just improving individual health, we're reducing the environmental burden of unnecessary chemical products, Dr. Caldwell explains. The simplicity of ingredients means no shipping of heavy liquids, no plastic packaging, and no chemical manufacturing. It's a solution that's good for you and good for the planet. He adds. Dr. Caldwell recommends thinking of saltwater rinsing as the foundation of your oral health routine, not a replacement for all oral care. Proper brushing and flossing remain important, but the saltwater rinse enhances and amplifies the benefits of these practices. Think of brushing and flossing as the mechanical cleaning, and saltwater rinsing as the biological rebalancing, he explains. Together, they create an oral health program that's more effective than either approach alone. For toothpaste, Dr. Caldwell recommends simple formulations without harsh detergents like sodium lauryl sulfate, which can irritate oral tissues and disrupt the bacterial balance you're working to establish. He also suggests reducing or eliminating alcohol-based mouthwashes entirely once you've established the saltwater routine. You'll find you don't need them anymore, and using them will actually interfere with the progress you're making. Based on Dr. Caldwell's clinical observations, here's what most people can expect as they implement this method. Week 1. Your mouth begins adapting to the new routine. You might not notice dramatic changes yet, but the bacterial rebalancing process has begun. Some people notice slightly improved morning breath. Week 2 to 3. Many people report the first noticeable improvements: less throat clearing, reduced morning mouth taste, improved comfort when swallowing. Week 4 to 6. Significant improvements typically become apparent: fresher breath throughout the day, reduced sinus congestion, better sleep quality due to improved breathing. Week 8 to 12. The full benefits emerge: dramatically improved oral health, resolution of chronic issues that may have persisted for years, reduced need for other oral care products. Beyond 3 months, Dr. Caldwell's long-term patients report that oral health problems that once required constant management become rare occurrences. Dental checkups improve consistently, and the mouth becomes a source of confidence rather than concern. After 3 decades of helping patients discover natural health solutions, Dr. Caldwell has a final message that he wants every person to understand. Your body is incredibly intelligent and has remarkable healing power when given the right support. The pharmaceutical industry has convinced us that we need complex, expensive interventions for every health challenge. But sometimes the most profound healing comes from the simplest interventions. Saltwater rinsing works because it supports your body's natural systems instead of overriding them. It's gentle enough to use daily for the rest of your life, effective enough to replace expensive products, and simple enough that anyone can master it. But here's what I want you to remember most. Taking control of your health is empowering. Every time you prepare that saltwater rinse, you're making a choice to be an active participant in your wellness, rather than a passive consumer of products that promise more than they deliver. You have everything you need right now in your kitchen. You have the knowledge to use it effectively. The only thing standing between you and better oral health is the decision to begin. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until your symptoms get worse. Don't wait until you've spent more money on products that don't work. Start tonight. Your future self will thank you. The secret is out. Dr. Richard Caldwell's 30-year method for maintaining perfect oral health is now in your hands. You know the science behind why it works. You understand the proper technique for maximum effectiveness. You have the advanced upgrades for targeting specific problems. Most importantly, you now understand that you have the power to take control of your oral health using simple, natural ingredients that cost practically nothing. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to go to your kitchen. Measure out 8 ounces of comfortably warm water. Add exactly 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Stir until dissolved. Take this glass to your bathroom and perform Dr. Caldwell's 3-step technique. As you gargle that first rinse, remember that you're not just cleaning your mouth. You're beginning a transformation that could impact every aspect of your health and quality of life. Tomorrow morning, repeat the process. Make it as automatic as brushing your teeth. In 30 days, evaluate how you feel. I'm confident you'll be amazed at the changes. If this information has been valuable to you, share it with someone you care about. Dr. Caldwell's mission is to help as many people as possible discover that the most powerful health solutions are often the simplest ones. Your journey to optimal oral health begins with a single decision and a simple glass of salt water. The power is in your hands. The ingredients are in your kitchen. The knowledge is now in your mind. What are you waiting for? Your best oral health is just one rinse away.